The Israel-Palestinian conflict is one of the largest sources of bias, controversy, and violence for the international community of today. In a sliver of land in the Middle East, no larger than that of New Jersey, the two groups, the Israelis and Palestinians, fight with one another for what they believe is right. The Israelis fight for the unification of the area they call home, while the Palestinians fight for their independence as a separate nation. A common solution that many believe would fix these issues lies in the idea of two states, in which the Israelis will continue to live in their homeland, while the Palestinians of the region may declare the Israeli territories of the West Bank and Gaza Strip a separate Palestinian nation. However, even if this idea of a two-state solution was put into effect, there are still countless areas of tension between these two people, the largest of these areas being the city of Jerusalem. Jerusalem, the established capital of Israel, is one of the holiest cities on the planet. The Old City, located in East Jerusalem, contains holy sites of the Christian, Islamic, and Jewish faith, three of the largest religions in the world. These holy sites include the Temple Mount, the Western Wall, the Al-Aqsa Mosque, the Dome of the Rock, and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Because of the religious significance the city provides, it is heavily sought after by both the Jewish Israelis and the Islamic Palestinians alike. Jerusalem is so significant that Israel made it the capital. However, it is significant to the Palestinians as well, so significant that in the 1988 Palestinian Declaration of Independence, Jerusalem is appointed the capital of the new independent Palestinian state. Jerusalem's significance is also proven by the annexation of East Jerusalem. Until the 1967 Arab-Israeli War, Israel only controlled West Jerusalem, which did not include the Old City, and East Jerusalem was under Jordanian control. However, after winning the war, Israel annexed East Jerusalem, making it entirely under their control. This was a major cause for alarm by the Palestinian population living in East Jerusalem at the time of annexation. This was largely due to the increase in Israeli influence in the region. Many Palestinians felt a need to fight for what they believed was their land to begin with. However, in many cases, the fighting involves terrorist attacks and random acts of violence. In November of 2014, four Palestinian men armed with a gun, an axe, and a knife attacked Israeli morning worshippers, resulting in 6 deaths. This type of violence is a near regular occurrence in Jerusalem. This tension and fighting is causing avoidable deaths and terrible relations between the Israeli and Palestinian people. In order to restore peace and stability to East Jerusalem and the surrounding regions, Jerusalem as a whole must be made an international territory, with neither Israel nor Palestine having claim to the city. This will prevent both Israel and Palestine from feeling as though they must conquer or defend this region. This will limit the violence as a whole and lead to better relations between Israel and Palestine. If the two-state solution isn't stated and both Israel and Palestine are recognized as separate nations, both will have to make some sacrifices in order to better their relations with one another. This is especially true towards Jerusalem becoming a national territory. However, to avoid overcomplication and potential points of conflict during the transition period, citizens previously living in Jerusalem may remain in their homes for as long as they'd like, and they will receive citizenship towards whatever country they previously identified with, despite Jerusalem becoming a national territory. Citizens from either country will be able to visit whenever they choose, as long as there are no objections from Jerusalem or the authorities. Both nations will have to compromise and remove their military and police assets from Jerusalem, as well as surrender all influence they may have in the region. Both nations must be accepting of the other's faith and allow for open practice of any religion in Jerusalem. Both nations must also acknowledge the other's ability to visit and worship their respective holy sites. With all this compromise, peace is attempting to be established by developing Jerusalem as a place of peace, coexistence, and worship, not a tangible prize that is constantly fought over, like it has been in the past. Although this compromise does everything possible to maintain peace, there still must be a way to ensure the peace and well-being of all people. This is where the United Nations must get involved. Instead of either nation having a police force inside of Jerusalem, the United Nations will provide a peacekeeping force of soldiers and advisors to be stationed in Jerusalem. To avoid further bias and discrimination, the peacekeeping force will be constructed of troops from UN nations that have no assets in the region and no alliances with either Israel or Palestine. For example, the US cannot send troops due to their close relationship with Israel. This will avoid further mistreatment of any nation or citizen. If a two-state solution is used and we see both an Israel and a Palestine, ensuring their good relations will lead to peace in the entire region. By solving the complicated issue that is Jerusalem, both nations will have one less thing to worry about, and each can focus on bettering themselves and bettering their relations with one another.